One of the things that you and I talked about is the fact that innovation is hard. And so can you go into like why is it so hard to be innovative?
Innovation, I think a lot of people get stumped by it because it's such a nebulous word. Everybody talks about it, but nobody really knows what it is. Immediately, a lot of people think, "Oh, I've got to be innovative. I got to come up with the next flying car or next light bulb." And while that is innovation, I think a lot of people leave a lot of value on the table because they have a very narrow view of innovation. In my opinion, innovation is nothing more than finding an idea and taking that idea the next step and creating value from it. So it can be something that anybody can do. It's basically finding an opportunity, finding a problem, solving that problem, creating value, and making something happen in the world. And why like corporations have a tough time innovating is because they figured out a lot of this stuff. Most corporations, if they've been around a while, they've figured out a business model that works. They have a set of customers that they're working on, set of products, and their job is to optimize and execute on that business model. And a lot of times they forget about the exploration side. And innovation happens in that exploration. That's why startups are really good at it, because in that exploration side, it's all about navigating the uncertainty and the unknowns of that. When you think about spinning up any idea, oftentimes you don't know what you don't know. And so it's about taking that little nugget of an idea, thinking through it, trying to figure out the path to get it to move forward, and navigating all the uncertainty. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle. It's that knowing that space between exploration and execution. And I think a lot of people focus on the execution side and aren't really able to explore very effectively.
But I'm curious about this exploration thing. What do you think prevents a company from exploring effectively? What do you think the challenges are to exploring effectively? I know personally for myself, being someone who worked at like the Apples and Netflixes of the world and realized that it was actually really hard to do really cool new stuff at those companies. I agree with your point, which is that you already have business models that work, and then you usually have stakeholders, whether those people are people who own the stock, whether it's actually employees who are just like, well, like we really need to make sure the thing that we already have does well. If you're Google, you can't have any less searches. So like we have to make sure
Right.
that we're incentivizing people to keep doing these searches, right? Because that's what we primarily make our money on.
I think we all have like a lot of experiences in and outside organizations. And one of the things that I've seen is that, to B's point about not being incentivized to be innovative because they have this big engine that they need to keep alive, it also means that there's a lot of things that would have to change if they all of a sudden went to this growth trajectory of a new innovative idea. Do they have the kind of people that can pivot to that new initiative? One of the things that companies tend to do a lot is they hire experts in a field. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing. When you have an expert who's deeply ingrained in a certain industry, that is all that they see. AC
Yep.
Penny hires Ron Johnson from Apple because of what he did at Apple, and they think, do it for us. But that's all he knows, right? At least in this instance, that's all he's going to bring to the table. He's not incentivized to see anything else. So when you hire a bunch of people that are there, that are skilled in this way to complete some initiative, and now you're saying, well, we need a growth thing, and that growth thing might be something different. What are you going to do with all of these people here? Is one of the questions that happens in companies, and one of the reasons why I think innovation is really hard to accomplish internally.